Alors c'est maintenant l'heure.
It is now time for statements by members.
The honourable member for Coquitlam, Port Coquitlam.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Iranian Canadians' hearts ache every day. It is the silence after an email that never delivers, the fear when a loved one cannot be reached, the worry that a simple act of courage will be met with violence. In our communities across BC's Lower Mainland, many are living this reality right now, with relatives and friends in Iran facing repression, detention, and worse. To them, I want to say this clearly. I hear you. You are not alone. We mourn those who have been lost, including the victims of Flight PS 752, and we stand with families still seeking truth, justice, and accountability. I will keep listening to Iranian Canadians, and I will keep pressing the Government of Canada to work with partners to defend human rights and to protect our communities here from intimidation and foreign interference. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Sherwood Park, Fort Saskatchewan.
St. Thomas More was Lord Chancellor of England and was imprisoned and executed because he refused to violate his conscience. Today, watching the sentencing of Jimmy Lai, it is impossible not to see the parallels between Moore and this modern champion of truth and justice. Jimmy Lai fled mainland China and arrived in Hong Kong as a penniless refugee at the age of 12. He went on to become an incredibly successful entrepreneur and media mogul. After the Tiananmen Square massacre, he fully oriented his resources towards freedom, democracy, and justice. Lai was baptized by another Hong Kong democracy hero, Cardinal Joseph Zen, right after the infamous handover. As a man of faith, Lai fearlessly redoubled his efforts to defend his home from tyranny. For his fight, Jimmy Lai has now been handed a 20-year prison sentence. Christians will see these events through the lens of the cross and redemptive suffering. Lai's fight for Hong Kong does not end today. It only grows through his sacrifice. Mr. Speaker, I call on the Prime Minister to speak out in support of Jimmy Lai's release.
The honourable member for Halifax.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As the Olympics take off, Canadians from coast to coast to coast are cheering on our Team Canada athletes. I'm especially excited to support our national women's hockey team. This is a strong team made up of talented players from across the PWHL, including Blair Turnbull from Stellarton, Nova Scotia. I want to shout out head coach Troy Ryan, who grew up in Spryfield in my riding of Halifax. As a longtime advocate for women's hockey, Troy has coached teams like the Toronto Scepters and the women's team at the 2022 Olympics. He's a proven leader and a great representative for Halifax and Canada. Congratulations to our Team Canada players and staff, and to all athletes participating in events in Milano Cortina. Canada is proud to have you representing us.
The honourable member for Parry Sound, Muskoka.
Mr. Speaker, it is a treat to rise today in the House to congratulate Megan Oldham on her incredible bronze medal performance at the Milan Olympics.
Absolutely.
Megan's achievement is the result of years of hard work, discipline, sacrifice, relentless effort. But the quiet determination it takes to compete on the world stage is what we saw. When Canadians watched Megan stand on the podium, they didn't just see a medal. They saw the payoff of commitment, resilience, and belief. She reminded young athletes all across Canada that excellence is built one day at a time, often far from the spotlight. So on behalf of Canadians, I want to thank Megan for representing our country so beautifully and so classfully. Her determination is incredible, and her success is a source of pride for her hometown of Parry Sound and people of Parry Sound, Muskoka, for all Canadians in sport, and for all of us here in this House. And I invite all my colleagues to congratulate Megan on her bronze medal performance.
L'honorable député.
The honourable member for La Salle-et-Marne-Verdun. Mr. Speaker, in my riding, housing affordability is what people care about the most. Rents are too high. Young people can't save up for a down payment. And seniors are worried that they might be kicked out of their own neighborhood.
From day one has been simple and clear. Build more homes.
Last year, I announced 2 new social housing projects in our riding. These projects are happening right now and will be creating real housing for real people in our community. With the new Canada-Quebec housing agreement and our collaboration with Build Canada Homes, there are more and more local projects in the works. And this housing is more than just a roof over people's head. It is stability for a family, dignity for seniors, and resilience for our community.
Building smarter and delivering results where it counts. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Great job.
The honourable member for Peace River Westlock.
22nd is Canada's National Human Trafficking Awareness Day, and this is thanks to the hard work of the all-party parliamentary group to end human trafficking and modern-day slavery. Human trafficking is a crime that turns people into objects to be used and exploited. It's vicious, it's profitable, and it's happening right here in Canada. In the book of Isaiah, God calls each of us to learn to do what is right, to seek justice, and to defend the oppressed. In Canada, the vast majority of human trafficking victims are women and girls, born right here in our nation. However, we know that human trafficking can happen to anyone. And as we approach the National Day of Human Trafficking Awareness, I want to encourage my colleagues and all Canadians to do three things. Learn the signs of human trafficking, know the national hotline, 1-833-900-1010, and help raise awareness in their communities. May we be relentless, courageous, and committed as we seek to eliminate all forms of human trafficking and modern-day slavery right here in Canada. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Compton-Stansted. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Agriculture in Canada is a highly strategic sector. Agriculture feeds our communities, supports our economy, and enables Canada to feed the world. More than ever, we need to consider that our agriculture and agri-food sector is a pillar of our national security. Our farms are among the most productive in the world, despite a difficult climate and a short growing season. On this Canada Agriculture Day, I'd like to thank farmers in the Eastern Townships and elsewhere in the country. Feeding a nation is nothing trivial. It's absolutely critical.
Agriculture is a strategic sector. It feeds our communities, strengthens our economy, and it allows Canada to help feed the world. Food production and security are also matters of national security. In the Eastern Townships and across the country, farmers and food producers are a source of strength and pride. On this Canadian Agriculture Day, I want to recognize the essential work of those who feed us.
Bravo.
The honourable member for Chicoutimi-Le-Fjord. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to warmly congratulate Valérie Malte, who's from l'Abeille. On Saturday, at the Milan Cortina Olympic Games, she brought home the first Canadian medal when she got a bronze medal at the 3,000-meter long track. This is something that Saguenay, Quebec, and Canada can be proud of. She was named Female Athlete of the Year by the Canada Speed Skating Association, and she has reached the world level and the Olympic level in short track and team pursuit. This shows her exceptional talent and determination. What she's done should inspire our youth and reminds us that our regions can produce incredible talent. We are wishing her all the best for her future events and for her career. Thank you, Valérie. We are proud of you.
L'honorable député de Drummond.
The honourable member for Drummond. Mr. Speaker, Franco Nuovo just died. We were not ready. It was almost brazen. We thought he would just be gone for a week, and now we don't know who we'll sip our coffee with on a Sunday morning. As Leonard Cohen said, hey, that's no way to say goodbye. Nuovo was a familiar voice on Quebec radio for decades. He was part of an increasingly sparse group, people who have opinions on everything, perhaps a bit of a know-it-all, tough and tender, for everything he's done, for everything he did to help young artists, for all of the fascinating interviews, the breaks, the laughter. Thank you, Monsieur Nuovo.
The honourable member for Sackville, Bedford, Preston.
Mr. Speaker, today I rise to recognize Rachel Reid, a Canadian author and a constituent in my riding of Sackville, Bedford, Preston. Yes. As of this week, 3 of Rachel's novels, all from her Game Changers book series, have spent well over a month on the New York Times bestsellers list, reaching the number 4 position for combined print and ebook fiction. Books from her series also occupy the top 5 positions on the Globe and Mail's bestsellers list for Canadian fiction. Rachel's work has found readers around the world and has even made the leap to the small screen, with the TV adaptation of her book, Heated Rivalry, of course, becoming a smash global sensation. Through her writing, she has helped expand the types of stories and perspectives that reach mainstream audiences, breaking down barriers and reminding us that Canadian stories are the best stories. I'd like to congratulate Rachel on her remarkable success. She has made our riding, our province, and our country proud, and we all can't wait to see what she does next. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Edmonton South East.
Mr. Speaker, Edmonton residents are paying the price of inaction from the Liberal extortion crisis. Every day I hear about extortionists and gangsters that are threatening families and businesses in Edmonton and across the country. Meanwhile, this government has done nothing but weaken sentencing and push catch and release bail. Liberal Bill C5 scrapped mandatory jail time, and Liberal Bill C75 forces judges to release repeat violent offenders back onto our communities. Criminals should fear the law. Law-abiding Canadians should not. Yet, under the Liberal government, extortion is up 330%. In a Conservative government, we will bring back mandatory minimum sentences for extortion. They deserve to be in jail, not on bail. It's time to stop crime, end the chaos, and bring home safe streets to Edmonton. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Hear, hear. Hear, hear.
L'honorable député de Ponty.
The Honourable Member for Pontiac-Kittaganzibi. Mr. Speaker, the sudden passing of Franco Nuovo has shaken Quebec. Like many French radio listeners from throughout Canada, I counted on hearing his voice and his thoughts every Sunday morning. He was able to create special moments when the radio became a space for dialogue, culture, and exploration. His passing represents a significant loss for Quebec, which will be losing not only one of its warmest voices, this extraordinary journalist and host, but also Quebec will be losing someone who cared deeply about culture and the francophonie. For more than 5 decades, Franco informed and inspired us and brought us together. To all of his loved ones and to all those who loyally listen to his program, we'd like to offer our most sincere condolences. We are thinking of you in your grief. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Richmond Hill South.
3 years ago, the Liberal Finance Minister promised Canadians he would stabilize food prices. Well, he failed. Since that promise, lettuce is up 40%, beef up 27%, and baby formula up 13%. While Liberals excuse their failure as a global phenomenon, the facts tell a different story. Canada now leads the G7 in food inflation. It's double what it was when the Prime Minister took office and twice the U.S. rate. The result? Canadians are forced to make 2.2 million visits to food banks every month, and food bank use has more than doubled under the Liberals. Now the Finance Minister offers another temporary rebate that won't lower the price of a single grocery item. That's not a long-term solution. It's an admission of failure with no plan to pay for it. Let's be clear. Food price inflation is a Liberal, homegrown, made-in-Canada crisis. Conservatives have a plan. Axe the industrial carbon tax, scrap the fuel standards adding 17 cents a litre, and increase competition in grocery chains. So will the Liberals drop the excuses, stop obstructing Parliament, and support a real food affordability plan, or will they keep serving up Liberal rhetoric on empty plates?
Well said.
L'honorable député d'Argenteuil.
The Honourable Member for Argenteuil-Lac-Nation. Mr. Speaker, today I rise to speak about an important winter event that happens yearly in my riding. I'm speaking about the Canadian Ski Marathon. This year, the marathon turned 60. It was held on the 6th, 7th, and 8th of February this year, and it brings together thousands of skiers and volunteers from throughout the country. The Canadian Ski Marathon shows off our landscapes and the spirit of solidarity that brings together our communities. The route goes through Argenteuil-Lac-Nation, my riding, and one of the routes ends in the municipality of Montebello, which is a community that is proud of contributing to the success of this iconic event. I'd like to thank all of the organizers, volunteers, and municipalities that participated. Thanks to their hard work, the ski marathon has been an exceptional event for more than 6 decades. It remains a source of pride for our region and for all of Canada. Thank you.
The honourable member for Niagara Falls, Niagara-on-the-Lake.
Speaker, the government's decision to scrap its EV mandate confirms what Conservatives have said all along. A forced 100% EV sales target was unrealistic and only created uncertainty.
That's right.
Bringing back EV rebates now offers little to Canada's auto workers, including those in St. Catharines, when up to $2.3 billion in taxpayer incentives will be subsidizing U.S. auto production when the U.S. is putting U.S. tariffs on Canadian-made vehicles. Canada's auto sector supports hundreds of thousands of good-paying jobs. Decisions affecting it should put Canadian workers and domestic production first.
That's right.
That's what our workers deserve. Yet Canadian auto workers are now left asking what their future will be when over 95% of EVs this Liberal government will promote come from outside of Canada. Sadly, under this Liberal government, no job is safe. They promised the Canada-U.S. trade deal to protect Canadian jobs, but instead are supporting foreign manufacturers. Donald Trump is smiling. Speaker,
L'honorable député de Sherbrooke.
The honourable member for Sherbrooke. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With the new industrial defence strategy set to be revealed in a few days, I would like to speak about the remarkable accomplishment of a business in my riding, Direct Technologies. A national competition was organized in Ottawa under the Department of National Defence Ideas Program. Direct Technologies brought home the first prize, worth $1 million, after rigorous testing by defense experts, the armed forces, the RCMP, and others. And thanks to this testing, Direct's technology for detecting drones in an urban setting won the first prize, using unique acoustic detection technology. Sherbrooke should be proud. This award bears witness not only to Direct Tech's innovation, but also to the vitality of our research ecosystem. I'd like to warmly congratulate their team. You are making Sherbrooke proud, and you are increasing security and innovation in Canada. Thank you.
Oral questions. Questions orales. The honourable member for Thornhill.
Everywhere you look, life is getting harder for young people after a decade of this government. Finding a place to live is harder because home prices, rents, and mortgages have doubled. Getting a job is harder because youth unemployment is still double the national average. And even buying groceries is harder because food inflation is up 100% under this Prime Minister's watch. After paying for the basics, there's barely anything left, and often nothing at all. How can anybody on that side of the House stand behind a record that has completely failed an entire generation of Canadians?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Families.
Mr. Speaker, every step of the way as this government has supported Canadians in what undeniably is an uncertain time, they have fought against, Mr. Speaker. Conservatives have stood up time and time again against Canadian families, against Canadian workers, against Canadian children, voting down, Mr. Speaker, things like school food programs, enhancements to EI, work and support for families, early learning and childcare. Mr. Speaker, no matter the solution, all they can do is obstruct and get in the way.
That's right. Honourable member for Thornhill.
The minister can pretend that everything is fine, but she's clearly not listening to anything anybody says in here. So maybe she'll listen to Miriam from Toronto. She's 26. She works 12-hour shifts as a nurse and told CTV News that, quote, saving for a home is completely out of reach right now. She said that she's barely making ends meet, even after going to school, getting a good-paying job, and doing everything that she was told to do. So is this minister really saying to young people who have done everything right that they should just lower their standards and accept a future of just getting by?
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, what this government is saying to young people is you can help us build big things in this country. And you know what, Mr. Speaker? Canadian young people are stepping up to help. All across the country, Canadian youth have been taking advantage of skills training, Mr. Speaker, in partnership with provinces just like Ontario to make sure that as we build big things, they're on the front line in the skilled trades, building bigger, building better. But you know what, Mr. Speaker? These Conservatives will vote again and again and again against the very people they say they help, including young people. You know, in that own riding of Thornhill.
The honourable member for Barrie South Innisfil.
The last 10 plus years have been incredible if you're a well-connected Liberal insider, lobbyist, friend, or have business connections to the Prime Minister. Every leading indicator says the Canadian economy is in free fall, and while they get to gorge on the all-you-can-take taxpayer buffet, auto workers, tradespeople, families, and single moms who are struggling to pay rent and mortgages, young people who have lost hope, and seniors who can't afford groceries are being told they've never had it so good. What happened to all the grand promises of the last election? Wasn't it more about Liberal self-preservation than solutions to fix the self-inflicted wounds they've caused over the last 10 years?
The Honourable Minister of Housing and Infrastructure.
We have a plan to attack affordability across this country that starts with housing, but it certainly extends to tax breaks, like we saw in these recent weeks with the groceries. And we had a tax break for 22 million Canadians last year. So, Mr. Speaker, we're delivering on affordability. We're focused on a first-time home buyer's tax break up to $50,000 and building homes, affordable homes for young Canadians at an unprecedented scale. Thank you.
The honourable member for Barrie South Innisfil.
Every metric, every problem Canadians faced before the last election is getting worse. Food costs have doubled. Food bank use has doubled. Housing starts are almost non-existent. We're seeing mass layoffs and plant closures across all sectors of our economy. The interprovincial trade barrier still exists. Still, no trade deal with the U.S. $500 billion in investment capital have left Canada. Deficits are ballooning, and Canada's debt is at record levels. In the last election, they promised affordability, lower prices, and real relief for Canadians. So after a year of higher costs and broken promises, which part of that do the Liberals actually think that they've delivered on?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Labour.
Maybe the member doesn't know, but we're in the middle of a trade war, Mr. Speaker. But despite that, Canada's economy has been resilient. Canadians have created over 160,000 jobs since September. Wages are rising. Inflation is now within the target range, but we're not stopping there, Mr. Speaker. We're building big, building bold, and building now. With Canadian lumber, Canadian steel, and Canadian unionized worker, Mr. Speaker, we're making the largest infrastructure investment in Canadian history to strengthen communities, create more jobs, create long-term careers in the trades. Mr. Speaker, while the Conservatives continue to object, play games in Parliament, Mr. Speaker, we're working for Canadians.
The Honourable Member for Louis Saint Laurent Akiawenrak. Mr. Speaker, what could be more essential than food? We cannot live if we do not eat our fill. And yet, sadly, all Canadian families are facing the worst food inflation of all G7 countries. Food inflation is 6.2%. Our food basket costs twice as much here as it does in the United States. And in Canada, food banks are overwhelmed. When will the government take real, effective action to combat food inflation and to get results? The Minister of Industry. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Indeed, grocery prices are rising. We are aware of that, and that's why we are in solution mode. We put forward a clear solution to this Parliament, and our solution is supported by the Conservatives. We will give $1,200 to a family of four. We are here to help Canadians through these tough times of food inflation. The Honourable Member for Louis Saint Laurent Akiawenrak. What we need are real results with long-term, tangible impacts. Last weekend in Quebec City, I was doing groceries, and I ran into a grocery store manager. He came up to chat with me, and he told me that he was disheartened. Now, parents are stealing or shoplifting food. That's the state of affairs. And the fact check on this is that the Canadian Council of Retailers estimates that $9 billion worth of food is being stolen from groceries. When will the government take real action to combat food inflation for the long term? The Honourable Minister. Mr. Speaker, we are here. We are here for the long term. Our measure is for a period of 5 years. We will be able to support families through this time of rising grocery costs. But we are here for people through other programs. We have the Canada Child Benefit, for instance. We have the National School Food Program. And good news, the Government of Quebec and the federal government just signed an agreement for that. We're there for families. We're there for children. We're there for Canadians from coast to coast to coast. The Honourable Member for Saint-Jean. Mr. Speaker, the minister revealed that 85,000 retirees have been experiencing problems with their old age pensions due to the QRAM software. In some cases, these problems have been going on for up to 9 months. The government was warned by its own public servants as early as this summer. And yet, even today, all the government can come up with to say is, if there are any individual cases, give us those people's names. Mr. Speaker, with 85,000 individuals affected, we are well beyond the point of dealing with isolated cases. We're facing another fiasco like the Phoenix fiasco or the passport crisis. Why did the Liberals wait until 85,000 people were affected before reacting? The Honourable Secretary of State for Seniors. Through the budget, over 7 million seniors are receiving their pensions through a modern system. QRAM software will be used for 4 projects. 6.6 billion is the amount that has been approved for the project. The member across the way is welcome to give me the names of those who are affected. We will help those people. The member for Saint-Jean. Mr. Speaker, there was once a time when Liberals told Quebecers, you must stay in Canada or else you won't receive your pension anymore. Now the government's telling seniors, stay in Canada even though you won't receive your pension. And to top it off, we're all going to pay a fortune for this fiasco, including seniors they're going to pay because the QRAM software has gone over budget by almost $5 billion. That's a high price to pay for depriving retirees of their old age benefits. Why is it that every time the federal government gets involved, we end up with skyrocketing costs and no services? The Honourable Government House Leader. Mr. Speaker, the Secretary of State just gave us the state of affairs. We are modernizing our systems. Now, seniors will be able to sign up for old age security. They will be able to receive their benefits on time and they will receive the right amounts. If there are any individual cases, if any members in this place have heard of any cases, they are more than welcome to tell us about those cases so that we can follow up. Mr. Speaker, there have been a few isolated cases, a few isolated mistakes, and we are fixing that. The Honourable Member for Shefford. Mr. Speaker, the minister said that 85,000 pensioners are having problems with their old age pensions because of the federal government. Now that 85,000 people are affected, it's time for the Liberals to stop treating this as if it were just isolated cases. Resources must be devoted to resolving these cases. The cases are piling up in Ottawa. The government must fix the problems with the QRAM software. They must help public servants to better serve the public. And at the very least, the federal government must stop treating retirees' problems lightly. When will the government get to action for those affected? The Honourable Government House Leader. Mr. Speaker, 7 million Canadians receive old age security benefits. The software that we use to pay out those benefits has been modernized. We are modernizing our way of paying out benefits, and this modernization will help people. Seniors will be able to sign up for their benefits online rather than having to line up at a Service Canada office or having to wait on the phone. 85,000 people, that's 85,000 too many. We can all agree on that. But, Mr. Speaker, we are fixing these cases.
St. Paul.
Last week, the Liberal government announced $2.3 billion in subsidies to buy electric vehicles. Electric vehicles manufactured in the United States will be eligible for this subsidy. It is inconceivable that the Liberal government would launch a multi-billion-dollar taxpayer-funded program that will directly benefit the American auto sector at a time that Trump's tariff war has cost Canada 5,000 jobs and counting in our auto sector. Will the Liberal government reverse course and stop American access to this $2.3 billion subsidy, yes or no?
The Honourable Minister of Industry.
Indeed, good news. Last week we announced our auto strategy based on two objectives. First, making sure we support auto production here in Canada and supporting those who invest in us, so basically the companies that produce cars in Canada. And second, making sure that we embrace where the industry is, which is electrification, and where it's going. So, Mr. Speaker, apart from the Conservative, everybody has been in favor of it. Premier Ford, the unions, the industry, even environmentalists and consumer groups, why don't they get?
The honourable member for Kildonan St. Paul.
Who's also in favor of this, Mr. Speaker? Donald Trump. Right. Because $2.3 billion is now accessible to his auto market when his tariff war is costing our economy thousands of jobs. It is, again, inconceivable that the Liberals would manufacture a program that gives billions of taxpayer dollars access to the American market. Why would we subsidize the American auto sector at a time like this? Will they reverse course, yes or no?
The Honourable Minister.
Translation? Hello? The translator's mic is on and she's not translating. Point of order. Oh, man.
When auto plants from American car companies were being closed, we embraced the Japanese automakers. We'll do that, and we will endorse those who build EVs.
The honourable member for Dufferin-Caledon.
The happiest person in North America when these Liberals announced their EV subsidy plan is Donald J. Trump. Yes. Let me explain. He has explicitly said he wants to take every single Canadian auto job and bring it down to the United States. And under these Liberals, he's succeeding. 5,000 auto workers have lost their job. The plant in Brampton that was supposed to build the Jeep Compass is now in the United States. So they are succeeding under these Liberals. Auto workers do not want their tax dollars going to subsidize American-made vehicles. Will the minister look them in the face today and say, no Canadian tax dollars will go to Trump's America to build vehicles?
Yeah.
The Honourable Minister.
You know what we do on this side of the aisle? We look at people in the eyes and we say, we'll defend your jobs. And that's exactly what this auto strategy is about. This auto strategy is about supporting auto production in Canada. And we are making sure that we're talking to Koreans, to Germans, to Chinese, to create good jobs in this country. And while we will just not let our industry just go bit by bit to the south, we will fight for these jobs. We have an auto strategy and they should get with the program.
The honourable member for Dufferin-Caledon.
I almost feel badly for this minister pathetically trying to justify sending money to Donald Trump's America to subsidize the production of American EVs. This is the president who has declared economic war on Canada. He has said he wants every single Canadian auto job in the United States. And under these Liberals, he's succeeding. The Canadian auto economy is being decimated. Their plan, allow the American auto manufacturers access to Canadian dollars for EV subsidies. It's disgraceful. It's unconscionable. Will she apologize to Canadian auto workers for this terrible policy?
The Honourable Minister.
It's not because my colleague is just increasing his rhetoric that actually he's right. What is right is that we have met the tariffs by the U.S. administration against our auto workers with counter tariffs. And every time the production has reduced in Canada, what did we do? We made sure that we limit the market access to Stellantis by 50%, to also GM by 24.2%. We will invest in those who invest in us, and we will make sure to create good jobs in this country.
The honourable member for Oxford.
Mr. Speaker, CAMI workers were devastated last year when they lost their jobs, but it got worse. Last week, they received their layoff payouts, only to see that more than half of it was clawed back in taxes. That's thousands of dollars, and many of them can't afford to wait for the next year's tax return. They need the money now to pay for their bills, their mortgages, their rents, and to put food on the table. So will the Liberals work with us, stand with CAMI auto workers, and provide immediate tax relief so they can afford to live?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Families.
Mr. Speaker, the only party fighting against workers is the party opposite, who voted against the budget, wherein we outline the work that we've been doing to protect workers for exactly this situation, Mr. Speaker. And thanks to the proactive vision of the government to protect workers in these situations, workers who are separated from their employment now can keep their last pay. They don't have to wait for EI. And indeed, long-tenured workers, like many of these, will receive an additional 20 weeks on top of supports for readjustment, Mr. Speaker. We've been there for workers, we will be, and we certainly won't vote against them.
The Honourable Member for Oxford.
Mr. Speaker, I didn't get an answer to my question, but it's sadly ironic that while Canadian workers are losing their jobs, while they're seeing more than half of their payouts taken to taxes, the Liberals are out handing $2.3 billion for subsidies for American-made electrical vehicles. All this is happening while the U.S. is slapping tariffs on Canadian-made autos. Wow. Canadian tax dollars should not be funding American-made EVs. So my question is very simple. Why is money being taken out of the pockets of auto workers to fund American jobs?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Mr. Speaker, I know the member and I know he cares about those workers, as do we, Mr. Speaker. The CAMI plant in Ingersoll is a half hour from my house. I regularly speak to Mayor Brian Petrie, who's doing an excellent job in very trying circumstances. Business owners who rely on the presence of the plant, I know them. The social agencies who are responding to the crisis on the ground, I know their leaders, I know their staff. We should work together on their behalf. He also knows, Mr. Speaker, that for the severance pay that he's referring to, the CRA is treating it as it always is, as a matter of Canadian law. The time is to put away politics. Let's work together on behalf of the people of Ingersoll and the auto sector.
The Honourable Member for Windsor West.
The Prime Minister has committed $2.3 billion to subsidizing EVs, yet most EVs sold in Canada are made outside our country. The Industry Minister herself admitted only one EV is made in Canada. Canadians are being forced to subsidize rebates for American-made cars, while over 5,000 Canadian workers have lost their jobs to U.S. tariffs. Why is the Prime Minister forcing Canadians to subsidize American-made EVs instead of putting Canadian workers first and adopting the Conservative plan to cut GST on all Canadian-made vehicles? Would not that make more sense?
The Honourable Minister of Industry.
Speaker, I would like to correct my colleague. There's not only one EV made in Canada, it's a Dodge Charger, of course, but also there's the Pacifica, and more to come. We have two battery plants. One also in Windsor, there against, we still don't understand why, which is an LG battery plant, and there's one that is being built as we speak by Volkswagen. Good news, 3,000 jobs coming to St. Thomas. Mr. Speaker, when it comes to our auto workers, we'll continue to fight for them. We won't sit idle while basically a lot of the industry is going through its most difficult period in decades. We'll fight for them.
The Honourable Member for Pierre Boucher, Les Patriotes, Verchères. Mr. Speaker, we criticize the federal government for doing nothing to address the issue of low-cost drivers. But it gets worse. Not only is Ottawa doing nothing to address the issue, they are giving those drivers contracts. Canada Post has done business with at least 25 companies that hire low-cost drivers, including one that was involved in a fatal accident. And the worst part is that the federal government was warned about this 2 years ago by the Trucking Alliance. When will the Liberals set up a registry of sketchy companies instead of hiring sketchy companies? The Honourable Government House Leader. Mr. Speaker, Post Canada is, of course, working with many trucking companies throughout the country. The CEO of Canada Post has assured us that the business in question uses the Driver Inc. model. There is a clear code of conduct for these companies to follow, and there are consequences if they do not follow the code of conduct. And we, as the federal government, are ensuring that Canada Post follows the rules. The Honourable Member for Pierre Boucher, Les Patriotes, Verchères. Mr. Speaker, Canada Post has hired 25 companies that do business with low-cost drivers. The Liberals have been aware of the problem for at least 2 years. We offer the Liberals 10 solutions. Not only do the Liberals refuse to implement our solutions, but they're continuing to feed the beast. At this point, the Liberals have gone beyond just turning a blind eye. They are now complicit. The Liberals just gave Canada Post $1 billion. Can they at least make sure that that money doesn't end up in the pockets of problem companies?
Parliamentary Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Canada Post is proud to work with many trucking companies across the country. In doing so, the CEO of Canada Post has assured us they have no engagement with Drivers Inc. model. All contracted suppliers are provided with clear expectations, a code of conduct to abide by, and consequences for non-compliance. We, as a government, expect Canada Post to abide by these standards. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Charlesbourg, Haute-Saint-Charles. Mr. Speaker, last week the member for Beauport-Limoilou told us in this place that the cost of the tramway in Quebec City was now up to, get this, $13 billion. Yes, Mr. Speaker, $13 billion. That's $5 billion more than what's outlined in the agreement between Quebec City and the Caisse de dépôt. Can the Minister of Finance confirm whether the cost of the Quebec City tramway is $7 or $7 billion or $13 billion, as the member for Beauport-Limoilou said?
Monsieur le Président, merci pour la question.
Mr. Speaker, I thank my colleague for the question.
Investment of $1.44 billion from the federal government, and we continue to invest significantly in public transit across the country. The Canada Public Transit Fund, as well as the Building Community Strong Fund, where there is tens of billions of dollars available if this House supports the budget to allocate towards transit. So Quebec, other provinces, cities will have access to the Build Community Strong Fund with the support of this House to fund major transit projects. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Charlesbourg, Haute-Saint-Charles. Mr. Speaker, $1.4 billion, that's an amount from 9 years ago. We are way further than that now, and the member for Beauport-Limoilou said it will cost $13 billion. Will the Liberals follow their promise? Because in the budget, there's not a cent for public transit in Quebec for this project. So will Quebec City get $0, or can the Liberals commit to a certain amount today? The Honourable Government House Leader. Mr. Speaker, the member for Beauport-Limoilou has been here for 9 months and has done more for the tramway than that member has done for the tramway in 10 years. We've been supporting the tramway project since 2018, and unlike the member across the way, says it will be $1.4 billion. That's what we are committing to this public transit project for the Quebec City region. Now, of course, we are still in talks for funding for Quebec through the Public Transit Fund, and there will, of course, be funding through the Building Community Strong Fund.
The Honourable Member for Richmond-Basca. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The same Liberal mismanagement is repeating itself like a bad movie. Do you remember Arrive Canada in 2022? The budget, $86,000. The actual cost, $60 million. 5 years later, same Liberal team, IT scandals are repeating themselves with Curam. Budget, $1.6 billion. Actual cost, $6.6 billion. And what's more, it's a failure. 86,000 seniors are waiting for their money. 86,000 seniors. What do you tell these seniors who are listening to you? Am I writing? Well, your answer is live right now. I don't have an answer to give you. I confirm to the Honourable Member, I don't have a reply. The Honourable Secretary of State for Seniors.
I love how the translator...
More than 7 million seniors are receiving their benefits on time. And these are 4 distinct projects. $6.6 billion have been set out and approved for the life of the project. I would ask the member across the way to give the names of these seniors, and we will help them. Thank you.
Translators like not wanting to translate the Liberals.
Témiscouata. Mr. Speaker, in Quebec, we've all seen cost overruns with Sac Leak site. Hundreds of millions of dollars gone up in smoke. But this is peanuts compared to the federal Curam fiasco. $6.6 billion instead of $1.75 billion for a failed software program that was supposed to manage old age pensions and doesn't even work properly. Currently, there's 86,000 seniors who aren't receiving their money because of this Liberal incompetence. The Liberals are still wasting billions, and Canadians are always paying the price. When will this government finally, what will they do with this federal fiasco? Thank you. The Honourable Government House Leader. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to tell Ms. Bolduc, who's listening to us, or the constituents of all these ridings, one case too many. We're going to solve all these issues for Madame Bolduc and everyone. We will give them the benefits they have the right to receive, and we are modernizing our IT infrastructure, and it will serve Canadians well. It will allow for better service going forward and quicker access to old age security. Thank you. The Honourable Member for Chicoutimi-Le-Fjord. Mr. Speaker, the new Curam software for managing old age security benefits is a real disaster. Not only does it exceed the projected costs, but it works so poorly that employees give it a rating of 5 out of 10 or less. In fact, according to one employee, if the department had listened to its agents, it could have developed a system that was 1,000 times easier to use. Why should seniors suffer the consequences of this mismanagement by the Liberals? The Honourable Minister.
Correct. There aren't cost overruns. In fact, the project is on budget, Mr. Speaker. And in fact, 7.4 million OAS clients were migrated in March of 2025. Seniors can apply directly online. This is a 60-year-old system, Mr. Speaker. Indeed, Canadians expect us to keep our IT systems modernized, and that's exactly what we're doing. If the member opposite has a constituent that needs help, please give them our name. We can certainly accelerate their case.
The Honourable Member for Hamilton West, Ancaster Dundas.
The United States government has unilaterally started a trade war against Canada.
What happened? I really couldn't hear a word of that. So we'll have the Honourable Member. We'll have the Honourable Member. We'll have the Honourable Member start from the top. We'll start from the top.
Every time.
And yes, you can start from the top. Thanks.
Every time. The United States government has unilaterally started a trade war against Canada. In response,
there's obviously a subtext here somewhere.
Yeah, he's always yelling at Pierre.
But let's put that aside. Let's put that aside. In good faith. I don't want to call anyone out on this side either. So the honourable member from Hamilton West, Ancaster Dundas.
Unilaterally started a trade war against Canada. In response, the Prime Minister is committed to doubling non-U.S. trade with direct measures to help Canadian businesses adapt and grow. Can the Minister of Energy and Natural Resources tell this?
This is going to make the question period a little lengthier than I had anticipated. I was going for a new record today, 303 or 304, but I don't think that's going to happen. But I guess anyway, we're going to give it another shot, and yeah, we have to, or else this is going to go on for a long time. We'll cut into committee time and everything. So the honourable member for Hamilton West, Ancaster Dundas has the floor.
As I was saying.
And let's see if we can get through it. And of course, that doesn't help either. So we'll try from the top.
From the top. The United States government has started a trade war against Canada. In response, the Prime Minister is committed to doubling non-U.S. trade with direct measures to help Canadian businesses adapt and grow. Can the Minister of Energy and Natural Resources tell this House what our government is doing to support Canadian businesses impacted by unjustified American tariffs? Thank you.
The Honourable Minister for Natural Resources.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to thank my colleague for that excellent question. We are standing shoulder to shoulder with workers and businesses facing the impacts of unfair and unjustified U.S. tariffs, with targeted support to help businesses adapt, retool, and stay competitive. That includes $1 billion through the Regional Tariff Relief Initiative, which is helping businesses protect jobs and diversify to new markets. Mr. Speaker, we're not just helping businesses weather this moment, we're building Canada strong.
Yeah. The Honourable Member for Sherwood Park, Fort Saskatchewan.
Mr. Speaker, Canadians have been disappointed to see that this Prime Minister is not delivering on his promises. Now, he promised the strongest economy in the G7, but we lost 52,000 private sector jobs last month. He promised to build at speeds unseen in generations. We're actually losing jobs at speeds unseen in generations. Now, Conservatives have offered solutions like the Canadian Sovereignty Act and the Conservative Youth Jobs Plan, which Liberals continue to oppose. Mr. Speaker, when will they reverse course and start creating jobs instead of more job losses?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Financial Institutions.
Mr. Speaker, Conservative slogans, rhetoric, and obstruction don't feed Canadian families. We've cut taxes for 22 million Canadian families. We cut the GST for first-time homebuyers. We cut the consumer carbon tax. And just a couple of weeks ago, we announced the Canadians Groceries and Essentials benefit that will put up to $1,900 in the pockets of working families. On this side of the House, we're going to continue to be laser-focused on affordability for families. That side, stop the obstruction.
The Honourable Member for Sherwood Park, Fort Saskatchewan.
Mr. Speaker, I truly have no idea what that member is focused on, but my question was about the results of their policies. Now let's talk about the results. 52,000 private sector job losses, 28,000 in manufacturing alone. That's just in the last month. He talked about the price of food. We have food inflation in this country that's more than double food inflation in the United States. Mr. Speaker, if this member can't answer a question about the results, when will he look at those Statistics Canada reports? And if he sees the problems that every other Canadian can see, when will they reverse course?
Honourable Secretary of State.
Mr. Speaker, that Conservative leader and that member, think about this. They actually supported giving millionaires child benefit checks.
That's right.
They supported giving millionaires child benefit checks. Let me say that again. They voted against the school food program. Every other affordability program we have put forth, they have voted against. That party is focused on obstruction. We're focused on delivering for Canadian families. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Haldimand, Norfolk.
Mr. Speaker, Canadians are losing jobs, plants are shutting down, and investments are fleeing. Canada lost 52,000 private sector jobs last month alone. Workers and families are paying the price, from GM employees in Ottawa to forestry families in Quebec who are struggling to put food on the table. This is the opposite of what the Prime Minister promised. When will the Liberals admit that their rhetoric is far from their reality of Canadians face and finally listen to common sense Conservative solutions?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
134,000 jobs created in the past year. Wages outpacing inflation for almost 3 years. A rate of inflation that is well within the Bank of Canada's guidelines at 2.4%. But we will not rest on that, Mr. Speaker. We cannot. Because the aim now must always be to secure Canada's future. Budget 2025 puts a foundation for that in place. Will the Conservatives join us? Put the politics aside. Let's work on behalf of our constituents. Let's work on behalf of Canada right now.
The Honourable Member for Haldimand, Norfolk.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister promised the fastest growing economy in the G7, and yet GDP growth is currently zero. Manufacturing, auto, and forestry sectors are all declining, and families in Halton and Norfolk fear for their livelihoods as the economy weakens. Despite this economic decline, the government has not repealed a single anti-development law. When will the Liberals finally admit that their economic plans is failing and remove the barriers and tax burdens holding back Canadian workers and the economy?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Almost 240 agreements signed between the federal government and various municipalities, large and small, for the Housing Accelerator Fund. Madam Speaker, they want to talk about getting things done and anti-development. The facts don't line up with that narrative. The reality is we need to build more duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, that kind of vision put in place through that agreement. But if they don't want to listen to Liberals, that's fine. They can listen to former Prime Minister Harper, who just the other day advised all members of Parliament to work together on behalf of this country. The time is now. Let's rise to the occasion. It's a moment of crisis, a moment of rupture. We can respond right now.
The Honourable Member for Long Range Mountains.
Mr. Speaker, Newfoundland and Labrador continues to face one of the highest unemployment rates in Canada at 10.7%, well above the national average. Statistics Canada reports that 52,000 private sector jobs were lost since last year, and the Bank of Canada says economic growth next year is expected to be just 1.1%. Businesses are delaying expansion and investment. At home, that means fewer projects, fewer jobs, and more people leaving to find work. When will this Prime Minister admit his economic plan is failing, listen to our solutions, and remove the barriers that are preventing job creation for Canadians?
The Honourable Minister of Fisheries and Oceans.
Mr. Speaker, I have good news for this member. In Budget 2025, we are growing this country. We are growing rural Newfoundland and Labrador and the rest of Canada. We are working to invest in our apprenticeship programs. We are building roads, schools. The challenge, Mr. Speaker, is this member, as part of the opposition, is obstructing at every step. Let's grow Canada. We need to work together.
Honourable Member for Long Range Mountains.
Mr. Speaker, the fact remains that the Prime Minister promised the fastest growing economy in the G7, yet GDP growth stalled at zero and GDP per capita was flat. Young people are leaving home because they can't find steady work. We have proposed a Canadian Sovereignty Act that would rapidly advance resource development by repealing job-killing laws like the oil and gas emissions cap, reward those who build, and protect Canadian innovation. So when will they listen to our ideas so people can stay, live, and work in the place that they love?
The Honourable Minister.
Opposite from Newfoundland and Labrador, that voting against the bills that support Canadian workers, Canadian communities, the building of our country and our province of Newfoundland and Labrador is obstruction. If this member wants to see our province of Newfoundland and Labrador grow, I can tell her that we are ready, but this side of the House needs to work with us.
The Honourable Member for Mission Matsqui, Abbotsford.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Small businesses are paying the price for the Prime Minister's economic inaction. In January, 52,000 private sector jobs were lost, and $39 billion in investment has fled to the United States. Wow. Canadian businesses are delaying expansion, and workers are losing their livelihoods. The Prime Minister promised the fastest growing economy in the G7, but growth is flat, and not a single anti-development or major regulation has been removed by this government. So when will the Prime Minister empower the private sector to build at a scale necessary to protect Canada's economy in the face of American threats?
The Honourable Minister of Veterans Affairs.
Speaker, the Prime Minister has a plan to build Canada. He's laid it out, and we're taking action to advance that. Because individuals in British Columbia, they want to see the investments that we're making. They want to see the major projects move forward. They want to see the new housing, and they want to see us grow this economy to the strongest economy in the G7. Mr. Speaker, we're moving forward with this plan. Can we count on the Conservatives to join us?
Honourable Member for Northumberland, Clark.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister promised the fastest growing economy in the G7, yet under his watch, $58 billion of net investments have fled to the United States, and we've lost 28,000 manufacturing jobs. Promising to build a pipeline is not enough. Creating a new bureaucracy, not enough. Reapproving projects over and over again, not enough. We need shovels in the ground. We need them in the ground now. When will the Prime Minister do what he promised and build at a scale we haven't seen in generations and work with Conservatives to stand up for our sovereignty against the American threat?
Honourable Secretary of State for Labour.
Mr. Speaker, 160,000 new jobs created since September. Wages are up. Inflation is within the standard rate. Mr. Speaker, we know that certain sectors like auto are feeling the pain from the tariff war, but we have a plan, Mr. Speaker, a plan that was laid out in our budget that was introduced in the fall, Mr. Speaker. Unfortunately, the Conservatives are blocking the budget at committee. If that member wants to make a difference for workers in his community, pass the budget, Mr. Speaker, so we can unleash the power, build in this country, protect jobs, support communities, build our country, Mr. Speaker. Will the member do it? Will the Conservatives do it?
The honourable member for Cloverdale Langley City.
I just attended an event hosted by Speak BC with a room full of highly trained engineers and technologists. They were asking whether the next round of manufacturing investment will stay here in Canada or go to the US. They want solutions so that their jobs are secure. StatsCan says we lost 28,000 jobs last month in manufacturing alone. That's fewer shifts, tighter budgets, and more families struggling to get by. The government has to recognize that what it's doing isn't working. When will the Liberals listen to our constructive solution to this urgent problem?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Mr. Speaker, building a strong economy is not just about looking at any single sector. It's about looking at all sectors. So making sure we're investing in the economy of the future today, but make sure we're investing in technology, making sure that we are investing in artificial intelligence, make sure we're creating the jobs of the future in industries where Canadians can lead. So as we work to support our manufacturing sector, Mr. Speaker, we're also making sure that in health sciences, in life sciences, in biotech, in technology, in e-commerce, in digital, in AI, in quantum, Canada is going to continue to lead and create the jobs of the future today.
Here.
The honourable member for Madawaska-Restigouche. Mr. Speaker, a functional healthcare system relies on modern data infrastructure. However, at a time when data is circulating at lightning speed, too many doctors and nurses are still forced to use outdated technologies such as fax machines to share information about their patients. Can the Minister of Health inform the House of the steps the government is taking to remove these barriers and thus save lives? Thank you. The Honourable Minister of Health. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to thank my colleague for his question. The time that patients wait for their files to be transferred means that lives could be saved faster, and their doctors are still spending too much time printing documents and not enough time helping people. The Connected Healthcare System Act that we tabled last week will break down silos and build a data infrastructure for health for all Canadians. So I am delighted to be working with members of Parliament and senators to get this legislation adopted. Thank you.
Branch South, Six Nations.
Mr. Speaker, extortion is a national crisis, exploding 330% since these Liberals took office. In Surrey, Calgary, Brampton, and across Canada, Canadians are being threatened, shot at, firebombed while criminal gangs and violent non-citizens extort families, all thanks to Liberal inaction. Will the Prime Minister support our plan, even supported by the NDP Premier of BC, to bar extortionists and serious criminals from exploiting refugee claims, or will he continue shielding criminals while Canadians pay the price, often with their lives?
The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, we've been meeting those who have been impacted by extortion, and I want to extend my condolences to those who have been impacted. Let me just say, Mr. Speaker, we need to work in collaboration in order to ensure that extortion is addressed. We need the party opposite to pass critical pieces of legislation, including C2. Virtually every law enforcement agency, every heads I've spoken to have asked for lawful access to become law in Canada, Mr. Speaker. It's one of the most important tools to ensure that extortion is addressed. We need to stop the obstructionism and make sure that we have critical tools that are important for law enforcement.
The Honourable Member for Abbotsford South Langley.
Mr. Speaker, extortion has surged by 330% since the Liberals took office. Across our country, Canadians are under attack, and the Liberals are rejecting conservative plans to stop this violence. Now, convicted extortionists are exploiting loopholes in our justice and immigration system by filing refugee claims to stay in Canada. Will the Liberals back our conservative plan, also supported by the BC NDP Premier, to bar non-citizens convicted of serious crimes from making refugee claims, or will they continue to side with the criminals?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Combating Crime.
Mr. Speaker, the second bill that we brought in this Parliament was C2. C2 addressed this very issue and also provided other measures like lawful access. I'm glad to see that the Conservatives have somewhat cooperated and split that bill into C12, which is now in the Senate, which will create an ineligibility for precisely these types of people who try to exploit our system. Mr. Speaker, they will no longer be able to apply for asylum, but I'd like the members opposite to also cooperate on lawful access, because we need to catch these criminals.
Honourable member for Calgary Nose Hill.
Actually, Mr. Speaker, the Liberals voted against a Conservative amendment to Bill C-12, which would have barred non-citizens who are convicted of serious crimes from abusing our asylum system and making refugee claims. They voted against that. That's crazy. Will the Liberals agree with Premier David Eby that that is an amendment, that is a proposal that should be accepted, as well as non-citizens who are accused of serious crimes should not be able to make refugee claims, because that's kind of bananas?
The Honourable Secretary of State.
Mr. Speaker, I've been following these cases very closely, and the case in BC where some people have filed for asylum, C-12, which is in the Senate right now, progressing nicely, will make it an ineligibility for those particular claimants to be able to file for asylum. So we are closing those loopholes, Mr. Speaker. We're working tirelessly to make sure that extortionists get caught, but will the Conservatives help us to give law enforcement the tools that are needed? Please, I'm asking, C2, lawful access measures are needed in order to catch child pedophiles and extortionists, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for South Shore St. Margaret's.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Advancing gender equality is key to building a strong and prosperous Canada where everyone can succeed, while the Conservatives minimize coercive control as normal family behaviour and debate 2S LGBTQI rights at their convention. Our government is making sure our organizations across the country have the supports that they need. Can the Minister of Health share how we are empowering, strengthening national women's organizations across Canada? Thank you.
The Honourable Minister of Health.
Today, the Minister for Women and Gender Equality announced over $15 million in funding to support national women's organizations across the country and strengthen capacity building. This means a stronger and more sustainable national women's sector. It means greater capacity to support the organization driving progress on gender equality. It means stronger collaboration to advance opportunity, safety, and rights for women and girls everywhere. This is how we build a Canada strong, where we...
The Honourable Member for Wellington, Halton Hills North.
Mr. Speaker, Hong Kong has sentenced newspaper publisher Jimmy Lai to 20 years in prison simply for exercising his rights and freedoms of the press, of speech, of assembly, of association guaranteed in an international treaty, the Sino-British Joint Declaration. Will the government reiterate its call for Jimmy Lai to be immediately released? And secondly, will the government acknowledge that his imprisonment is a violation of an international treaty and international law?
The Honourable Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Mr. Speaker, I thank the Honourable Member for his question. Canada is deeply disappointed with the tragic sentencing of Jimmy Lai in Hong Kong. We call for the immediate release of Jimmy Lai. In fact, we have consistently spoken out against the national security law since its imposition in 2020. While in Beijing, I reiterated Canada's long-standing position to my counterpart that the persecution of journalists, of media workers, of activists is unacceptable. Mr. Speaker, Canada will always support a free...
The honourable member for Nunavut.
The year before the election, Liberals planned to cut the Inuit Child First initiative. When Inuit heard this, they spoke up by the thousands. Under Nunavut's pressure, Liberals promised to extend the program. Since being elected, the Minister for Indigenous Services promised an announcement on ICFI. 9 months later, far too many Inuit children are still being kept below poverty level. Still no announcement. Will the minister finally act to help Inuit children, or should they feed themselves on her promises?
The Honourable Minister for Indigenous Services.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank my colleague for, being really consistent with representing her members. The message has really been clear for me that we need to respond. That's why we've been working with our partners to look forward to see what the next step is going to be. I'm sure that you will be pleased to see what that is going to be. I am going to look forward to what the message is going to be when it comes out very briefly. Thank you.
And that concludes the question period.
Okay, so we've got a little bit of a break. We've got about a 20-minute break until committee starts. This is a point of order.
Actually walked across the aisle in front of her. And so I just want to bring that to your attention, Mr. Speaker, and ask whether or not we could have the member repeat her question.
Okay. Yeah, we don't need to listen to that. There's the link in chat again for committee. We've got Minister Joe Lee in the Industry Committee. And then we'll take a bit of a break, and we'll cover Sean Fraser in the Finance Committee. That'll be at about 5:45. So we'll do the 3:30 one, which will start in about 20 minutes, and then we've got one at 5:45. So just before we go, I'd like to say thank you to Annie for the super chat. Really appreciate you. And thank you, Megan, for gifting 5 memberships. And everybody for tuning in and watching. If you just want to watch Question Period, we'll be live again tomorrow at the same time, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Question Period. So I will see you guys shortly. There's the link in chat again. And bye, guys. See you.